Monbasa, Mvita, Mahabharata war, Kurukshetra, in brackets, Gada, Yudha. Gada, Yudha means the war of messes. A mess, in the Kenyan language, we call it a war club. But where that was happening, in the Bhagavad Gita or the Gita, the holy book of Krishna, they had messes made out of metal. So I'm going to take you through that. And why am I taking you through that? Because what had happened within the system to lead to Kurukshetra was that there was a kingdom and everything had gone against the normal norms. There was no justice, there was nothing. The owners of the kingdom, the Pandavas, were being looked down upon. So what happened is that a battle had begun. And one side was for righteousness, another side was the one that was running everything wild. They didn't care, and it resulted to this war. This was a big war. And just like the biblical wars, there are times when the armies would fight, and then they would call a champion. All Christians know that David and Goliath thing, where Goliath came challenging, and he was saying, "Give us your best." And in this battle also, there were two fighters. One was Beam. Beam had a lot of strength, the strength of an elephant. He was a good mess fighter. But Duryodhana, the prince of that time, who was overrunning everything, had been a student of a very good mess teacher called Balarama. He was a well-trained soldier. He had skills. He didn't have the strength, but he had skills and knew how to use the mess. But where did their problem begin? When the Pandavas were growing up, there was a time when one of the sons found a wife, a young lady who she wanted to marry. And when they came to their mother, they wanted to give the mother a surprise. They were the 5 brothers. So one said, "We found something good, mom. What do we do?" And the mother, not knowing it was a girl who was to get married to the family, she said, "Share it." And that time, those words stuck. So the lady called Draupadi was a wife to the 5 brothers. What happened? Duryodhana, being a prince, came and misbehaved, insulted the family, even sitting on Draupadi's thighs, because he was prince. What could anybody do? And it reached a time when the battle of Krishna called the forces of good against evil. And this was a stance in the battleground. Gandhari, the mother of Duryodhana, the prince, knew that a great battle was going to come. She had magical powers. And she told Duryodhana the son, I want you to go to the river, to the lake. Go and bathe yourself in that lake. The lake was Lake Dwaita. Lake Dwaita. And Duryodhana went and bathed in the lake. But as things were, Krishna got to know that Duryodhana in that state would be very difficult to defeat. So Krishna himself went and met Duryodhana when he was coming naked from the river, because it was not normal for people to walk naked from the river. And Krishna asked, Duryodhana, big man, how come you are walking naked? Where are you going? And Duryodhana answered him, I'm going to my mother. And Krishna knew that was exactly what was happening. So he told Duryodhana, a full grown-up man going to the mother's house naked. A man, naked, with nothing. Not even an inner, that time there are no innerwears. Not even something that you have wrapped around yourself. Just the way you were born. No, if I were you, I wouldn't go like that, but there are many mad people around. So, Duryodhana, if you have gone mad, go to your mother's house naked. A grown-up man, naked. So, Duryodhana listened to the advice. And he took a piece of sheet and tied it around his waist. When he went, the mother was facing the other side, chanting. And Duryodhana said, Mom, here I am. And the mother turned round, and her eyes were emitting powers that turned for that time his whole body, the parts exposed, not exposed, into diamond-like metal for that fight. But the places where he had covered remained normal. So the mother asked, my son, why have you done this to me? Because I did not want you to lose tomorrow's fight. Now, you've tied that cloth around your waist. That is your weak spot. That is your weak spot. And what happened is that Krishna went, but he did not tell Bhim what had happened. The following day, Duryodhana emerged from the lake. He went to the lake thinking that there will be more change, but no change came. He emerged from Lake Dwaita and prepared for the battle with his mess, with his rungu. Duryodhana came on the other side with his mess, his rungu. And a battle emerged. It was a battle of the best. The best warrior takes the prize marches off with victory. And the defeated one is left dead on the battleground. And the battle began. And the maces were used. And they used all the mace fighting styles. It was a great battle. The battle of Gada, Yudha. No mace battle had been fought like that one. It had the best mace fighters in India. 2 best mace fighters. And they fought from morning. They fought. They relaxed again. They got back to the fight and fought and fought. And Krishna saw that in this battle, Duryodhana was not likely to win. It would go on endlessly. So it was against the rules to hit below the belt. It was a rule that when warriors go to battle, do not hit below the belt. But Krishna himself, having seen what was happening, signaled Duryodhana to hit below the belt. So as the war was going on, Duryodhana hit below the belt, breaking the thigh that Draupadi had been forced to sit on to humiliate the Pandavas. And from there, everybody was complaining in the battlefield. You not followed the rules. But Krishna knew there are times when it comes and you have to break a stalemate and you don't go by the rules. That is what Krishna signaled. And that battle, Bhima was the winner. Duryodhana died in the battle. That was the turning point of the battle. The turning point of the battle. And you know what? Bhishma, who had been struck with arrows until he was hanging on arrows like a porcupine on the ground, had not died. He had been given the powers not to be killed in battle. So he was waiting for the battle to end. And they went and complained. And he told them, my sons, because he was their uncle, it has happened. It is unfair, but it has happened because that is the cause of Dharma. So what happened? Sometimes when things are happening, you have to look up and down. What is happening within your area? What can sabotage whatever you are looking for? What can sabotage things that move forward or backwards? There are times when we have to get rid of those things. Things like greed, you remove it from yourself. Things like unrighteousness, you remove it from yourself. That is the only way you can be able to fight the battle of Gada, Yudha, and win. That is what happened in the great Bhagavad Gita war, in the Mahabharata war. That was the turning point. Otherwise, the Pandavas would have lost the battle. That is what Krishna did, and that is what happened. And there were many other things that happened after the battle. The Bhagavad Gita has a lot of things. But as we move on, we learn how to put ourselves during such a time. How to move. There are times when you have to move against the grain. There are times when you have to move against what the rule says. Because in the battle of Dharma, righteousness stands above everything. That is my take for now.